There is a version of you that is exhausted right now. Not from working too hard or sleeping too little. Exhausted from giving too much, saying yes when everything inside you was screaming no, and absorbing other people's problems, moods, and demands until there was almost nothing left for yourself. And the most painful part is that you probably did all of it while believing you were just being a good person. Weak boundaries don't look like weakness from the outside. They look like generosity. They look like loyalty. They look like someone who is always available, always understanding, always willing to sacrifice for the people they care about. But underneath that image, something is quietly breaking. And these are the 7 signs that it's already happening to you. The first sign is that you regularly say yes when you mean no. Not occasionally. Regularly, there is a pattern where someone asks you for something, your immediate internal reaction is reluctance or even refusal. And then, within seconds, you override that instinct and agree anyway. Usually because the discomfort of disappointing someone feels worse than the cost of doing something you didn't want to do. But every time you do this, you teach everyone around you that your no is not real. And once people learn that, they stop taking your limits seriously entirely. The second sign is that you feel responsible for managing other people's emotions. When someone around you is upset, your immediate instinct is to fix it, smooth it over, or somehow make it stop, even when you had nothing to do with causing it. You walk on eggshells around certain moods. You change your behavior to prevent other people's discomfort. This is not empathy. This is emotional caretaking, and it is one of the most exhausting, invisible jobs a person can hold. The third sign is that resentment keeps building in your closest relationships. Resentment is almost always the result of unexpressed needs and uncommunicated limits. When you give without being asked, sacrifice without being seen, and accommodate without acknowledgement, resentment accumulates naturally. And the terrifying part is that the people in your life often have no idea it's happening, because you never told them where your actual limits were. The fourth sign is that you apologize constantly, even when you've done nothing wrong. You apologize for taking up space. You apologize for having a different opinion. You apologize for reacting to something that genuinely hurt you. This reflexive apology is not politeness. It is a deeply ingrained belief that your needs, your feelings, and your presence are inconvenient to other people. And that belief is both wrong and incredibly costly to carry. The fifth sign is that you have difficulty identifying what you actually want. When someone asks where you want to eat, what you want to do, or what you need in a situation, you genuinely don't know. Not because you're indecisive, because years of prioritizing everyone else's preferences have disconnected you from your own. You've spent so long accommodating that your own desires have gone quiet. That silence is not peace, it is erasure. The sixth sign is that you feel guilty when you take time for yourself. Rest feels selfish. Saying no to a social obligation feels like betrayal. Spending an afternoon doing something purely for yourself triggers a low-level anxiety that whispers you should be doing something for someone else. This guilt is not a signal that you are being selfish. It is a signal that your boundaries have collapsed so completely that even basic self-care now feels like a violation of some unspoken rule. The seventh sign is that certain people consistently leave you feeling drained, not occasionally tired, consistently depleted after almost every interaction. This is not a personality clash. This is a boundary problem. Somewhere in that relationship, something is being taken that you are not consciously offering. And because there is no clear limit defining what is yours and what is available, the taking continues. Here is the truth that holds all 7 signs together. Weak boundaries are not a character flaw. They are almost always a learned response to an environment that taught you that having needs was dangerous, burdensome, or selfish. So here is the question worth sitting with today. Whose voice do you hear when you feel guilty for setting a limit? And is that voice actually someone whose opinion of your boundaries should still matter this much?